Hello and welcome to Foundation Nation. I'm your host, Matthew Cote, high school educated, master of nothing, and gifted with the knowledge of, well, a lot. Today on the podcast, we're going to talk about the ups and the downs, the ins and the outs, the crumbles and the cracks. And yes, I'm talking about your home's foundation. But we're also going to be talking about foundations of life. So join us here on this beautiful downtown Burien, Washington, as we explore with our guests foundations of your home and the foundations of life. So sit back, relax, and let's get ready to go on an adventure. All right, today I'm speaking with Marliza. Thank you for taking the time to join us, Marliza. I'm very grateful you could be here. So today we're talking about some interesting concrete experiences, and of course, at the end, we're going to hear about Marliza's most precious foundation of life. So, how are you today?
Good. I'm good. Thank you.
How's your week? How's your year been so far?
Oh gosh, I'm shocked that we're already going into March. I haven't even taken down my Christmas ornaments yet. A day late and a dollar short.
So I can bring the kids by tonight?
You could. I actually like Christmas lights. They bring a bit of joy to my life.
Well, if you keep them long enough, then you don't have to put them back up, I guess.
I know, right?
Christmas lights. Now they have LED now, so you don't even notice a power bill fluctuation.
Right. And I do have the LED ones.
So what do you got planned for the summer?
I'm not that far ahead yet. I'm looking to go someplace like Mexico. To get my teeth done.
Teeth done. Mexico.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of scary. Who told you about that?
There's a place called Los Algodones. I think it's Los Algodones in
Does that translate
Mexico.
Into run for your life?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure not.
I don't speak
It's
Spanish.
down by Yuma, Arizona. Down below
okay.
Yuma. And they actually call it Medical Mexico. There's so many doctors and dentists there because people go there to get a lot of dental work done and a lot of cosmetic stuff done. And I've been researching how to research
Medical
that.
Mexico.
Medical Mexico is what they call it.
That sounds super interesting. So what is it? So if I'm walking there or driving there, what does it look like?
I've not been there.
You haven't had one tooth done?
I have not. I have 2 failed root canals.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I just had to deal with that.
And so here it's going to cost me like, if I even went to University of Washington, it'll cost me $12,000 for 3 implants. I can have 3 implants done in Mexico for less than 5.
And they'll
start
hold
to
up?
finish.
They'll do the same.
Yeah, actually, I went to a clinic and they told me that the posts that are used to hold the implant, that's actually a really, really costly piece. They sell them to Mexico a lot cheaper, and it's the same product.
That's frustrating.
That's the next way of putting it. Yes, it is frustrating, for sure.
So, a couple of things that I was going to bring up about you, I asked you earlier in the week, we asked, what is your biggest accomplishments in life? And you said graduating from college. That's amazing.
It was so much work. I'm surprised so many people do it.
What do you mean? What was your experience like?
It was a lot of work.
What do you mean a lot of work? Like you got to wake up early, a lot of work?
You got to wake up early. You got to be studying. You got to still figure out how to pay your bills on top of that. Mm-hmm. Homework. Mm-hmm. The library closed where I went to college. They closed at 10 o'clock at night on the weeknights. I wasn't done with my homework by then, so half the times I'd have to go. The only place open would be a bar. So I'd go and do my...
This is sounding awesome.
I'd wind up finishing up my homework. I'd go into the library until they closed, and then my only option was
go to the bar.
Go to the bar. That's right.
The only option in all of the world is to go to a bar.
For homework, yeah.
For homework. And what kind of, were you able to get it done?
Absolutely.
Okay, well that's more impressive than going to the bar. Honestly,
right.
So if you're able to go to the bar and still get shit done at a young age, that's self-control.
Let me preface that. I was actually an older student.
Okay.
I went to college after high school, and then I didn't go back again until I was like 26.
That's still 27. A baby.
Well, it is now, but
yeah, that's a baby time back then.
Right.
I couldn't have done that.
Oh.
No, I would have set my homework down and forgot where it was.
Oh. I made sure I went to a quiet bar that had, you sat at a table with benches.
Right. Yeah.
And I could sprawl my stuff out on the table.
Like an Irish pub.
Could do it at an Irish pub, but this place they didn't typically have music, and I usually keep earplugs in my purse so that if there's somebody wanted to play the jukebox.
Do you ever remember that Irish? Have you been to Burient?
I have been.
Do you remember that Irish pub that used to be down here?
I do remember that.
What was the name of it? I forget. O'Doul's. They're all O'Doul's. O'Paddy's.
Or mix something.
Mickey's. Mickey. I pretty much said all the Irish pubs there are names. So it's one of those three. That place was awesome on which Paddy's Day is coming up here pretty quick. Are you gonna get yourself some green wine or?
I'm not Irish.
It doesn't matter. Another reason to get drunk, and then it's okay.
Right.
So something that's very impressive to me that you've done recently actually is you ran for Washington State Representative Legislative District 33.
I did.
And a couple of things that you focused on was tax relief and education choice. I think I wrote education, but I think it wasn't a choice of education.
Education choice, yes.
Well, tell me something. I'd like to hear a little bit more about. I mean, how did that make you feel? Like, what was that experience like?
It was a lot of work, and it was a lot discouraging. I met a lot of really amazingly wonderful people, and I met a lot of not so wonderful people. Mm-hmm. And I saw clearly the division between the right, people who lean right and people who lean left. And boy, some of the stuff there is really ugly.
You know, I keep hearing, I don't really follow the political world too much. I mean, I do follow, you're kind of the local news and stuff like that, but the political kind of, I guess, rhythm or, the lower levels of it or whatever. But I have been hearing a lot of talk about a lot of division that's of like never before. And I just wonder if is that just the type of people that are joining, is it just the workforce? Is it just a different kind of people getting into the workforce? It really doesn't have anything to do with much more than that?
If I say too much more, I might sound rather conspiratorial.
Conspiratorial?
Yes. I
think I have a sound for that. Bring me your conspiracy theories, woman.
Well,
I want to. Okay, you just hit a hot button for me. I want to hear a conspiracy theory that you have. A theory.
Well, I don't. Actually, I said conspiratorial. I didn't say anything about theory. I tend to be a conspiracy realist.
Okay.
And so I do a lot of research.
Again, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so I do a lot of research. I listen to alternative practitioners. I have been engaged in holistic therapies and holistic modalities for probably all of my adult life. And so I know there's more than one side to a lot of stories. For example, I will tell you this, hydroxychloroquine, which is one of the, it's good for COVID, it's bad for COVID, it's good, it's bad, it's, well, what is it? There are a lot of doctors who believe that hydroxychloroquine is a good remedy, not a preventive, but a remedy for COVID. So, and hydroxychloroquine is an anti-malarial, and it's also.
Does that mean it's not for malaria?
It is for malaria.
It is for it.
That was one of the treatments for malaria. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So hydroxychloroquine is a synthetic form of quinine.
Quinine.
And quinine is the.
Wait, hold on. Did they mine that on Avatar?
I can't tell you that.
Okay, all right.
Quinine is the bitter taste that you find in tonic water. So you could drink a lot of gin and tonics.
Okay.
And be COVID free. I'm just kidding about that, actually.
That's awesome. I will write that down.
But there's an herb called cinchona bark.
Cinchona, like bark on a tree?
Like bark on a tree. It's a cinchona tree. And cinchona bark is from where quinine is derived.
Did you hear that, nurseries? start selling cinchona trees.
Cinchona.
Oh, jeez. It's a complicated word.
Well, but here's the thing. If people want to try holistic remedies and stuff and keep stuff on hand, I would tell everybody, go out and get yourself some cinchona bark. You can buy it encapsulated. You can buy it in a bark form and grind it in a coffee grinder and fill gel caps yourself.
Wow.
You can buy a tincture.
Can you just get a piece of bark and just gnaw on it, just have it in your pocket?
It's a very specific type of bark.
Oh, okay.
And probably 9 on it wouldn't be the greatest idea.
Okay. I'm thinking like, in different countries they have like, they chew on tobacco leaves and
right.
or they chew on
coca leaves
and stuff while they're working and stuff.
Right.
They're all high out of their minds.
Sometimes.
I'm just start passing out, bark pockets of, here's some.
No.
Chewing some, no.
Okay. That wouldn't work. But so when people say, well, this doesn't work, it's like, well, who's telling you it doesn't work?
Sure.
The people who stand to make money for having it not work are the people who are telling you that. So, my idea is always follow the money.
Well, somewhere I read the biggest infection of humanity is money.
That's pretty deep, and that's probably pretty true too.
Yeah, it's it's the cause of all diseases.
Greed. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
it could definitely be in there.
To be able to have the pill. There was a movie. I don't know if you've seen it. I can't remember the name of it, but there was a pill or a movie, and in this movie, it had this one pill that you took, and it basically, what they said was, currently we only use 10% of our brain or some small amount of our brain, right. And by taking this pill, you use like a massive amount. It used like half of your brain.
Right.
And it was just an incredible movie. And the lady was in it. She became like telepathic, and she could control dust or something. And it was just took her to the next level, And so you see stuff like that, and people are thinking that there's that magic pill out there.
Well, a lot of people do think that there's a magic pill out there for everything. My mother was one of those people, and when she got sick and she began to fail, and she had cancer, and then she had cancer, and then she had radiation, and then she died.
Right.
And she didn't die from the cancer. She died from radiation poisoning.
Oh.
Of course, she's actually a cancer statistic, because they put down, kind of like they put COVID deaths on everything. Well, they're not going to put down on her death certificate that they killed her.
Of course not.
From their treatments.
Well, no. Yeah.
But they did. I monitored her pretty closely.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad.
It is. But she wanted to take a pill. I said, you got to change your diet.
Right.
And she wouldn't change her diet. She lived off of ice cream.
What?
She lived off ice cream. How some people go into the store to buy a 6-pack of beer.
Yeah.
She would go and buy a 6-pack of half gallons of ice cream.
Man, I got issues.
That's how they come in from the manufacturer. They come in 6-packs.
6 gallons?
6 half gallons, the half gallon size.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's 6 of them, like a 6-pack of beer. And
she was going. Was she going to the factory or something?
She was going to the local grocery store.
And getting
it was
a 6-pack.
called Nob Hill, and she would get it. Yeah, they'd let her walk in the back room into the walk-in freezer and pick her 6-pack.
Wow.
And it was like, who does that?
Yeah.
My mother.
Yeah, your mother. Yeah. Well, my dad is actually a train. He smokes so much, it's just one after another.
Oh.
The smoke is still in the air from the last cigarette before he lights the next one, So, and I was reading, the sugar. You have this scale of what really is addictive to us. We have that gland in our heads that that drips an addictive drop into our system. I forget the name of it, but you basically, God, what is the name of that drug that's in our brain that we naturally? It's I'll think of it. But basically, sugar. So the top of the scale is like sex, and then below that is like meth. And then below that is like sugar. Right. And then below that is video games, or something like that. And they're finding, and they're finding that this addictive, this reaction that we have to these certain things, and sugar's way up the scale. I think I've read articles where sugar is above like cocaine in some instances. it has such a strong effect on people.
I can believe it. That's why they put it in everything.
Well, okay, so I want to hear a little bit about, so we kind of got off pace there, but,
Right.
You're running for, representative of, to kind of try to the idea is to help. When people do that, it's because you have an overwhelming need to help the community.
That was kind of my adage, and I ran because it started actually out of anger. Anger and frustration.
Yeah.
I felt that I've never been represented by my, quote, representatives.
Mm-hmm.
I view them, when I look at them, I think I see people trying to be leaders who are trying to lead us around literally by the nose and dictate to us rather than represent us and what our desires are and our needs are and our wants are. Mm-hmm. And for example, taxes was the biggest issue for me. Property taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I live in a modest house, mm-hmm. and my property taxes are more than what I bring in from Social Security.
Right.
And so it's no wonder that, people say, oh, we got to do something about homelessness. Quit making it impossible for people to stay in their homes.
Something that I've always wanted to know, and it's kind of a, was it, you're a woman, a lady. Mm-hmm. Did that raise any challenges? Did you feel like, were people, did they interact with you and because you're a girl kind of?
I didn't get that.
You didn't get that? That's good.
I didn't.
That's awesome. That's good, right?
I think it's good.
That's good. You're pretty intimidating.
Oh, thanks.
You know how some people kind of, they're in a room, mm-hmm. and then other people are kind of like going through the room. They're forward walking. They have a presence, Well, that's good. That's good to hear, because, I always want I want everybody to have, I really like everybody to have an opportunity that's equal to everyone. So that's good to hear. I was thinking it was not going to be that answer. So where did you go? What did you travel around? Did you?
Well, I traveled around my district. I did some doorbelling, and I put up a bunch of signs and did that sort of thing. It was kind of discouraging. I ran as a libertarian, mm-hmm. and typically Republicans don't win in my district, and typically Democrats do. And I, in good conscience, could not run as a Democrat because I don't believe in abortion. Uh-huh. And I think that there's definitely, it's another human being. You're not giving them a voice. Everybody's talking about everybody has to have a voice.
Right.
But why are you denying this baby a voice? Mm-hmm. Just because you can talk louder and you can talk over it and talk for it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm not okay with that.
When I was a kid, I stepped on an ant. Hurt my feelings, had a small voice, everything matters, and I think it's really brave of you, because you knew going into this, you're not a popular, you're not the popular choice.
Right. We live in a very, very high, very, very lefty.
That must have been really scary for you.
It was a little scary. It was definitely intimidating, especially when you get interviewed by different groups and they take what you say and twist it.
Sure.
And it's like, I didn't say that.
Did you really experience that?
Oh, yes, I did. There was some guy, he came to, I was at a CULP rally, and he said he was from, quote, alternative media. And he, I said, well, do you have a business card? What's the, what media are you with? Oh, just alternative stuff. And no, I don't have any cards with me right now. And everybody else was giving him the interview, so I did too. And then I feel pretty passionately about the things that I feel passionately about. And one of those, anyhow, he was talking to me about social services. And he wanted to know, how I feel about free medical. And I told him that I had gone through DSHS when I had my first son. I had just gotten out of college. I didn't have a job yet. I was pregnant, and I was going to have a baby. So whether I had a doctor or not, that baby was going to be coming.
Yep.
So I went through DSHS, and I was very thankful for that. It says, oh, so you're in favor of free health care for everybody. I said, well, no. It's okay for you, but it's not okay for anyone else. Well, the thing that he never gave me an opportunity to say was that it's not constitutional. Free health care, there's nothing in the state constitution or the federal constitution about providing that being a function of the government. Mm-hmm. Would I love it for everybody to have free health care? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But do I think that it's the place of the government? Constitutionally, it's not. And I think we've gotten so far off track of what we should be doing. People go, oh, but it would hurt their feelings, or, oh, this or oh, that. And it's like, no, it's either in the Constitution or it's not. Right. And if that's what the job is. And the thing that just absolutely kills me is that all these people keep saying that they swear to uphold the Constitution, yet they don't. They get into the office, oh, well, first thing we want to do is take away your voice, and we want to take away your guns. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm not okay with either one of those things.
Right.
So scream louder. Well, if you're conservative, you get quashed.
Right.
They shut you down.
Right. And
throw away the key.
Right.
And it's very frustrating. It's very, very difficult. And then, when you talk to, there was I want to say a debate. It wasn't really a debate. It was kind of a question and answer session. It was me, my running mate, and the two incumbents, mm-hmm. who we were trying to unseat. And the one who I was running against, Mia Gregerson, she said, when I mentioned something about the $27 billion in new taxes, and she says, oh, well, I guess we just weren't very clear about what the taxes were for. It's like, no, listen to the people. We don't want the taxes.
Right.
We don't care what they're for.
Right.
We're tired of working for you to take everything we got.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So, there's got to be another way. There's got to be a better way. Just, tax and spend, tax and spend, tax and spend does not cut it on any level for anything. Mm-hmm. So that's basically why I ran, was mostly that. But there were, there's certainly a lot of other issues. School choice was one of them. Mm-hmm. The indoctrination that takes place in schools is horrible.
Yeah, my wife needs a paycheck and an assistant.
That's right.
I mean, we're not teachers, and it's hard. I try to back her up and support her every way I can, but it's hard. It's really hard right now, for parents. Parents are not teachers, they're parents. It's a different category.
They're teaching different stuff.
Yeah, we're teaching life. They're teaching, math and English, But I still think that, there's no way I could have done what you did. That's just, it's another reason why, women are just awesome, honestly.
It was intimidating. I will say that.
There's just no way. There's too many unknowns. People, I'm proud of you. You're a champion of women. You're kind of the CEO of women when you speak out like that. Having the bravery and the just the gumption. I don't know what word it is to just do it. Well,
there will be a whole lot more women speaking out.
I know you're really interested in holistic life.
I am.
This is Holistic Life 101. Laughing is good.
Laughing is good.
Laughing is good. You agree with that?
I totally agree with that. And probably one of the next most important things is relationship with anybody and everybody. Your mm-hmm. family, mm-hmm. your loved ones, your classmates, your whoever.
Absolutely.
And your diet.
Your diet.
Always let your diet be your medicine, your first medicine, mm-hmm. always. Mm-hmm. But most people don't.
Something that I realized recently is I have no idea how to cook, and so during the last year I learned how to cook three things actually. And one thing that I learned how to cook was I finally learned, I studied up on how to cook a steak properly. Mm-hmm. I watched some, Gordon Ramsay has these online kind of live classes that he cooks with. I don't know how many people are on it, but you're basically live on there. He can see you or whatever, and he sends out the recipes of what to get, and so I think a couple of weeks ago you came over and I cooked that steak.
It was amazing.
Just literally, a few tips here and there. Let it air breathe. Do this, do that. And it's salt and pepper, and that's it. And and you go to these restaurants and they cook this Kobe steak from Japan that's all the cows' asses are massaged for months, and they go into hot tubs and eat a steak that costs $400, and and they cook it and they bring it out and then they pour, they pour Béarnaise sauce all over it, and just like, why did you do that?
You just took
simple.
away the taste of the meat.
Just keep it simple. You don't need to mix it up with stuff. So I like simple. I like very simple foods with salt and pepper. And my favorite thing to drink is water with lemon and ice. And coffee. That would it's probably coffee and then lemon water. So what attracted you to? Was it your upbringing of holistic foods or?
No, actually. It just always, I didn't understand, as a young adult, I didn't understand why there was not a cure for cancer.
Uh-huh.
And I got my degree in communications. I wanted to work in film video production.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was doing it, one of the assignments we had ongoing was news notes. We always had to check the newspaper and review it. Well, unfortunately, my professor at the time was really into sports, and I was really not.
Right.
So I should have just pacified him anyhow. So I didn't get the A because, I just couldn't bring myself to, even though I knew those were the questions he was going to ask, I just couldn't bring myself to read the sports pages.
Oh, geez.
So I found myself enjoying the health pages a lot. And I started buying books because I wanted to find out why are people getting sick? Why do we get sick? Why do some people get sick and others don't? I mean, just things that were crossing my mind. And it just seemed like there had to be another way than going to a doctor and taking a pill or being cut. And I found little things here and there. I'll tell you a really cute story, if I may. My oldest son, he's now 34, I think. When he was in 5th grade, he brought home some toads, common American toads from Lost Lake up near Yelm. And one morning, they were, I called them toadlings because they still had a tail on them.
Oh,
they were cute, but they were dying because my son's friend bought them to feed his pet garden snake.
rough.
Right. He didn't realize that toads are poisonous. They have poison glands in them. And you probably don't want to feed that as a primary food to even a snake.
Oh, interesting.
So
And you caught on to that.
I rescued the snakes from them, and I went to the pet store and I bought them some mealworms and said, I'll give you some mealworms for some toads.
Nice.
And so I'm bartering with the 5th graders to save some toads.
Yeah.
And anyhow, about a year and a half later, I finally got it down how to raise a toad. I didn't have it down when I was a kid. My parents didn't help me with stuff like that. Usually you bring stuff home, and if you can't figure out how to take care of them, they just die. I was on a mission. I was going to help my son succeed in this quest of rearing toads. So one morning I get up, and there's a toad laid out. His legs, I call them his hoppers, were laid out behind him like he was paralyzed.
He was just relaxing?
No, he wasn't relaxing. He possibly had... Don't laugh too hard. He possibly had tumors on his kidneys. I called an amphibian vet, and because some amphibians and things like that are very pricey, especially if they come from another country. So I called them, and they said, well, a vet visit was going to cost $40, and I knew the father of my children would have a fit if I told him I spent $40 taking a toad to the vet. so I couldn't go there.
Yeah.
And I was working with a healer, an intuitive healer, and I mean, as a job at the time.
Okay.
And I ran the office, and I was the office herbalist. And he said, I called him up and I said, hey, Stefan, do you have a take on this? I've got a sick toad here. He goes, yes, you do. He said it's his kidneys. And I went, boom, tumors on the kidneys. So I went to one of my books. This was pre-internet. I went to one of my favorite herb book references. It's called Planetary Herbology. It's an older book.
Herbology.
It's a great book. Anyhow, it had a recipe for a tumor-reducing tea in it, and I had most of the herbs, the bulk herbs, at my house already. So I pulled them together, and then I made what I believed to be a toad dosage versus the book gave you a human dosage, right? So I had to dilute it way down, and what I also learned was that toads don't drink; they absorb from their skin.
This is amazing. You should write a book on this.
I know, right? It would be about 2 pages.
Use pictures. Make it 10.
Well, I could possibly do that. Anyhow, I soaked this toad in that tea every day for a month. Every single day for a month. And at the end of the month, and it was gradual, but he got his hopper started working again.
That's amazing.
I know, right? So I was telling the story to one of my past herb instructors, and he said, oh my gosh. He said, when I die, if I come back as a toad, I want to live at your house.
I'm coming to hang out.
He said, most people would have taken that toad and flushed it down the toilet.
Yeah, down the toilet. No, come on now. Just throw it out in the back.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, that was a big coup.
That's interesting. And that was at the beginning of you kind of learning about this or becoming interested?
No, I had already been interested, but that was a big challenge because it was a creature who could not talk to me.
Right.
We didn't have, there was no common language there other than I saw he was paralyzed.
I do speak squirrel.
Do you?
Squeakity squeak squeaker.
Oh. That's like the cartoon version.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's from Emperor's New Groove. Right. I learned a little bit on it.
But no, it was just every time that I did something and I researched it, and either people got better, my children got better. My kids knew how to swallow pills. They could swallow pills when they were 3 years old.
That's good. Good.
Well, I gave them, herb capsules, and my kids were always healthy.
Right.
But I fed them healthy foods and lots of herbs and supplements as needed.
What do you think about the marijuana, the legal marijuana and stuff?
I think it was about time that happened.
Does it have actual medicinal? Are those truthful?
I believe that they are.
What are some of the top ones?
Using something like Rick Simpson oil for treatment of cancer.
What did you say?
Using something like Rick Simpson oil. There's a guy named Rick Simpson who created a whole plant extract.
Oh, okay.
Like using even the root of the marijuana plant, using all of it. And they've discovered that we have THC receptors in our bodies.
THC.
Yeah, THC and CBD receptors in our bodies. So our bodies are clearly made to deal with that. For what exact purposes, I don't know. But people have cured themselves of cancer.
Interesting.
And other things. It also helps with appetite.
Yeah.
And in insomniacs.
It gives you the munchies?
It can give you the munchies. It sure can.
I remember somebody telling me there's 2 types of marijuana. There's
indica and sativa.
Sativa and indicouch.
Indicouch, that's right.
Yeah, that's how I remembered it. There's one that makes you run up and down the street and mow everybody's lawn, and the other one that puts you in the couch to eat all the Taco Bell late at night.
And all the chips that went through the cracks in the couch.
Yeah, look at yep, absolutely.
The desperation.
Well, at the end of every show, I like to hold people on for as long as I can, and then what I like to ask you is, because we're coming up on our minutes here, is I like to ask you, what is your foundation of life? What kind of supports you individually every day and helps you, accomplish and move forward?
Easy.
What do you got?
My family, my friends, and my God. Your
family, your friends, and your God.
That's it.
Well, if you're going to, do you have any art? Or do you have any abilities to do art?
I consider the healing stuff part of the arts, healing arts.
If you were going to make a dinner to describe your foundation of life, what would that, and we're all getting ready to sit down, your family's getting ready to sit down and eat, what would that dinner look like?
It would look like a New Year's dinner that I put together a while back. I asked everybody who was going to attend what their favorite dish was.
Like the last meal before you...
I got everything that everybody wanted.
That would be fun. How cool would that be?
It was very cool.
Whoa, so multiple dishes.
Well, I mean, it was like, somebody wanted prime rib. They wanted roast beef.
Right.
And then somebody else wanted lobster. Well, they didn't get the full lobster, but I did lobster bisque.
You got the lobster booty.
I got lobster bisque.
Yeah, lobster bisque.
And a little extra lobster to put in the bisque.
Sure.
And I just did.
That's so nice.
What they.
I bet you're an awesome mom. What do your kids say about you?
To my face? It depends if they're happy with me or not so happy with me. Usually pretty good.
It's good.
Usually it's good. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, you feel like you did the right things with them guys?
I did the best I knew how.
Yeah. What else can you hope for?
That's it.
I wake up every day hoping that, I'm not going to yell or scream or hug too hard or, I'm trying not to fail them,
Yeah, you can do is just, you just keep loving them and letting them know that they're loved.
Kids are definitely important. They're a reflection of our success in life.
I agree. Now, my children are all three of them very different. But, it's really interesting that they came from the same parents.
That's cool.
They did come from, all three are from the same parents.
Yeah, that's cool. They can have that genetic bond.
Yeah.
Blended families can be a little trickier when they have one parent and not another parent,
I've heard that that's challenging.
Well, I think we've come to the end of the podcast. I'm so super thankful for Marliza to join us today. I've been excited to have the first female on my podcast show and, a champion of women for sure. And I just want to say thank you, and that hopefully we'll get you back here, in some amount of time, and we can hear about your accomplishments and
that would actually be really wonderful. There's a lot to talk about, especially with another campaign season coming. I'm not planning on running for office this time around, but I am working with an organization called the Ignite Foundation, who is actually looking for candidates to help, mostly patriotic type, constitutional type candidates, people who actually will uphold the Constitution, who will actually do what they say they will do. So that when you vote for them, when they do what they say they'll do, there's no surprises.
We'll just keep burning that fire. Don't give up.
I won't give up.
This podcast is proudly sponsored by Mavet Foundation Repair, and I'd like to thank you for joining us at the Foundation Nation. Please like, subscribe. You can find us on the Foundation Nation Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and anywhere you find a podcast. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Foundation Nation. You can find us anywhere podcasts are available. If you would like to hear more conversations like this, please subscribe to Foundation Nation. And if you have any comments or suggestions on future topics or guests, just let us know. Please join us next time as we continue to search for the foundations of life.